G'day and welcome to Duckzorly Gaming, and today we are reviewing a new game, or it's a game that's currently in alpha, and that game is Mashinky from Jan Zeleny. Now Jan has been working on this game for about 7 years solo, and it's finally sort of getting to the point where it's getting closer to release. He's got it in an early alpha build, and we looked at it and we decided we'd give it a go. It's far beyond what I expected it to be. To be honest, it's very good at where it stands currently. So I thought we'd not only do a bit of a review of the game as it currently stands, but then do a little bit of a let's play, so we can just sort of muck about with it a little bit. This won't be overly serious. There are issues with the game. It is an early alpha build, as I said before. So there are some things that aren't finished, some things that are just placeholders. But overall, the initial scope of the game looks fantastic. So I can't wait till it gets finalised. Okay, that being said, let's move over into the game. So when you load up, you're presented with this screen, which is just a little welcome. So basically it says there that it's an alpha build and still heavily in development. Now, Jan has worked on Mafia 2, Mafia 3 and DayZ, the zombie game. So he's got a bit of experience, and he's basically decided to do this game after having a love affair with Chris Sawyer's Transport Tycoon, which I think many of us probably did, and decided that he wanted to create his own version of it because there wasn't much out in the market similar to that. So what this does say is currently the multiplayer isn't finished, the train driver mode's not finished. You're still able to ride on the trains, which we'll showcase a little bit later. Some icons and tooltips aren't complete, and we might see some placeholders for graphics or text. The final game at this stage will include 7 eras from Steam Age to the future. Currently there's 2 eras effectively in place, 16 different cargo types and 21 industries, so lots of flexibility and ability to create storylines and varied gameplay. 25 railway engines, 40 different wagons, stories, quests and challenges, player controlled trains, a multiplayer for up to 8 players, which is what excites me. That should be fantastic fun. Mod support via Steam Workshop, again fantastic, so we'll be able to have hopefully some of those very talented modders in other games come across and bring their support to this, and much more. So without further ado, let's head on in. So when we first get in, we're presented with the main menu. Obviously we can create a new game. Multiplayer is grayed out because that's not available, obviously, as to is extensions and mods. So obviously that's where you'll access your mods and extensions when that's imported into the game. You can load your game. You've got a world editor. Yes, you can create your own worlds. I will showcase that a little bit later. Last time in doing a test ready to do this recording, I went into it and then I couldn't get back out again and it crashed. So we'll just skip that for now. Settings. So we have game settings. We have our autosave, our control scheme, mouse sensitivity, all the basics there. Graphics, we can set our graphics. Now it is very important to note that if you're playing on a laptop, you will need to double check that your dedicated graphics GPU is the one that's looking after the game, not the integrated. Many people have been reporting very poor frame rates, like as in 1 frame per second on the integrated, and I actually had exactly the same problem and didn't even click with it at one point, but once I sort of realized, yeah, we fixed it up and our frame rates were restored back to a better level. Just your graphic settings, you have anti-aliasing, shadow quality, occlusions, aberrations, depth of field, VSync. Play with those to your heart's content to make sure you get the best option available to you. Details, okay, that's the viewing details again, so how good or how bad they'll be, how far you can see, all that sort of stuff. So that's all pretty simple and self-explanatory, as to is the sound and music. I've turned the music all the way off, just to avoid any possible copyright strikes from YouTube, but I'm sure it wouldn't be the case anyway. But in any case, we'll get rid of that. All right, and credit. So obviously Jan and all these testers and all that sort of stuff. Anyway, so what we'll do is we'll head into a new game and we'll get started. So you're presented with this screen. So your basic setting up, you can set the map size. There's 3 sizes currently available: 128 by 128, 256, 256, and 512. Hills, we have low, medium, and high density. Same with the forests, industry, towns, and lakes. Obviously, industry is the density is the amount of industry plots basically you have available to use. The higher the density, the more you'll get, and the closer they'll be. Towns, similarly. Now, the other thing is there's also here recommended for your first game. So you click that, and it will set the recommended settings for your first game. We actually will do that today, just for the sake of simpleness. Making up my own words. Okay, so under advanced, you have the ability to set your difficulty. Some functions are available and others not. One of the things with the era progression, you have options here. You can either have it set to pay or date, which means that you can pay with the in-game tokens, your currency, or you can automatically progress once you get to a certain date. So it gives you the flexibility of, if you don't make enough tokens, you'll automatically progress, but just maybe not as quickly. Or you can set it to date, or you can set it to pay. Okay. Starting loan and additional loan, so you can set how much you can get from your loans. Loan interest, fuel cost. These are not available as yet. As you can see, they're greyed out. As to most of these here. Trains reverse at end of line. Enabled or disabled. I'm going to have that enabled. You'll see why a little bit later. And only one depot, again, that's disabled at the moment. Okay, so that's what we're going to do. So let's head on in and have a look. Okay, so we start off with this. Straight away we've got a welcome message. We can click OK and we go through this, and actually, because we've got the help on, so it'll actually come on and we can earn a couple of missions straight away. So camera control, mouse wheel down and up, that was easy. Yep. Middle mouse button, hold the middle mouse button, left and right will move. Right mouse button to move the camera. Okay, so hold the right mouse button down and move it, that'll move the camera, or you can use your WASD keys. So we've got a bit more money there. Switch to construction mode. So there's 2 modes in here. Actually, let me just escape out of that. I'm just going to turn down. It's very loud. Sorry. Those of you that it's already turned off because of the loudness of the background noise, I apologise. Okay, so early research. So we've got here this early steam age. So that's what we go for our next stage. Now we can, if we had the tokens, we could actually buy. This is what I was saying about earlier about progressing. You can either pay for it or go to the date. So time to the next age. It tells you here when the next age will be. Okay, terrain. So this is again one of the quests that help, the training quests, the tutorial quests. So as I was starting to say before, yes, we have 2 modes. We have construction mode and we have pretty mode or realistic mode. And that's this button down here. Okay. So at the moment we're in realistic mode. So it looks all nice and pretty. All right, we head over here to one of the towns. Where are we? Okay, looks quite nice. All right, fair bit of detail in there. However, if we go to the construction mode, it changes. We go to our polygon basic layout. I think it's technically a polygon, but square layout. And this is where we're going to do all our track laying and all that sort of stuff. And as you can see, once we've gone into that mode, the menu down here changes and gives us more options available to us. So go back out to realistic mode, and there we are. All right. So what have we got here? Terrain editing. First thing to do is create a nice hill. Okay, so part of these tools is terrain editing. And we'll go down here where there's nothing down here. So if we click on the bulldozer, we have the bulldozer, which will clear things. Now, the bulldozer will clear roads. That's the only thing in the towns that will clear. It won't clear the buildings. So if I click on that, it won't clear it, but I can clear the road. Okay? So be aware of that. It will also then remove your tracks, your signals, your stations, all that sort of stuff. So anything you build, it will remove, and the roads it will remove, but not the towns themselves or the buildings in the towns. Same goes for industries. These industries, it also won't remove those. Okay, so then we have raised terrain, lower terrain, and flattened terrain. So he wants us to do raised terrain. So as you can see here, we pick a central point, and it will raise it, and that's where it starts raising it. If I want to raise more than that, I just click and drag. Now you will note that the section that I'd already raised was raised again. So it didn't actually just raise it to that same level as the first one. So if I raise from here, then you'll have a plateau with this raised area then sitting on top. Okay, like that. So be aware of that when you're raising and lowering. Similarly, if I lower, I can lower just to one section, or I can lower multiple sections. Okay. Now, the flattened terrain, that will just flatten it to the existing side. So if I want to bring that to the same level, I'll just do that. If I want to take it down to the base level there, I just do that. All right, very nice and simple. Now you will notice it goes all chocolatey brown, like as if it's been worked on. And if I go to realistic view, you'll see that. I'll just accelerate the time, but you'll see over time, the remnants of the construction work actually are grown over, which I think is a fantastic level of detail. So there we have it, it's almost done, and it's back to natural land. And the same thing happens when you lay your tracks and everything else. So if I was to lay a railway line, okay, there we go, it's gone to our construction mode, and we've got all that, but you can see here it starts to grow through, or basically the construction signs or the trail that was left behind by the construction workers is gone, and then we're just left with the railway line sitting out in the middle of the plains. Okay, fantastic. All right, it's nice. I think it's really nice how you can get in there and get that closer to detail, and you have that depth perception with the field of view and all that sort of stuff. Okay. Obviously, there's a couple of quirks with the way it sits, which may not be ideal, but no, it's great. I love it. Okay, so we've finished that tutorial there. So we get that. So now it's going to tell us what is it? First line. So Mashinky is all about railways. The simplest railway line is between two stations, connected with a depot. So what we need to do is we need to go between Cardiff and Aberystwyth. Now I know I've butchered that, and I apologise. I've got relatives in Wales, and I know when I was up there, lived up there for a little while, I butchered all the names up there too. So I apologise. So we've got to go to construction mode, and we've got to construct that. So let's go. If you click on the nameplates in the quest, it will actually take you to the town or to the city. Okay, so we've found Cardiff. And there's Aberystwyth. Right, so that's what we're going to do. We're going to do a line between there. So what we'll do, we'll do a nice simple line. Now, obviously I've spent a bit of time and learnt some of the quirks thus far. But we'll go through and do it all. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to level this bit of land out here. And did I level that? No, I didn't. Right. Pays if you've got the tool selected, Duck. Right. And we'll push that back in there. Okay. So now we'll go back in here. So in the railway construction, we've got multiple sections. So we have the build railway, which obviously is to build a railway. Remove, which removes your railway, your signals, and everything, your tunnels and all that sort of stuff. Your signals, which we'll get to later. Your depot, that's where you buy and build trains. Your station, pretty self-explanatory. Bridges and tunnels. Okay. So what we'll do first is we'll do our station. So we're going to have a terminus station here. So we'll come up to there. The tutorial wants to bring me straight up. That's nice of it, isn't it? Okay, and and we'll do a station there. Now, you will notice that I drag the station out past where it possibly could be. So if I do it from here, you'll notice that there's a section that's red. If I was to release the button now, it won't build the red part, but it will build the other part that is zoned and correlates to the correct length of the station. Okay. So now we've got to join these up. So we'll just get into a view where we can see. Now, I come out normally a minimum of 4 straight sections for the station, and we'll get to the reasons why in a minute. And then we can just go and join up. It doesn't have to be too pretty. Okay. What I will do is I will also put, a secondary station, secondary platform in there. Now what we'll do, we'll look at just joining these up quickly. So I can send out my railway line like that. I can also join the tracks and create relatively complex intersections. So I can do that. So now the trains coming down this main line can choose to go between platform 1 and 2 and Vicky Verka. Now if I was to extend this out through here, I could also similarly do a crossover and have it like that. Okay. Now, further complexity to that, if I had another line out here, I could manage to bring that out through here and all that sort of stuff. So you can get quite complex with your intersections and that, which is quite good. The part that makes it a little bit more difficult is the signalling. The signalling is done in blocks. So between each signal is a block, and trains can enter and not enter blocks accordingly to their current situation. Now, we'll get into that a little bit later, but for now we'll just sit that there. What I will do is I'll put a signal at the station, which basically will block it from going into, if we have multiple trains, it would block going into the station if there's a train already in the station. So what we'll also do then is we'll get the depot, which we need. So we'll just put the depot out here, and he's going to connect automatically for us, which he'll do in most cases if you put him in the right place. We will also put a signal there, and that will again make sure that if there's any trains coming out here, nothing will come back into the depot line. But then similarly, if there's a train on this section of track, it won't come out from the depot. Okay, so how do we get our trains? Well, that's as simple as clicking on the depot, and it'll open up the depot window. Now, the depot window has engines, wagons, and extensions. Extensions we'll get to a little bit later, because that affects all your industries and your townships and your stations. So engines, it wants us to buy an engine by clicking on it. Let's do it now. Buy a 260 Porter. So we've got our Porter there, and we've just bought it. It's as simple as clicking on the train and you buy it. Okay. So we've got our Porter there, and that tells us now choose the wagons tab. Open the wagons tab. It's highlighted with the icon in the depot window. So I'll click on the wagons, and it wants us to do 3 Pullman carriages. The Pullmans are here, so I can carry 8 passengers. It weighs, I don't know what the difference is between the 10 and the 12, but anyway, 10 ton. And it is a length of 0.56, or what's that, 0.56 of a metre? Well, I don't think so. Anyway, 1, 2, 3. Okay. There we go. So that's our train set up. So now click on start to start the train. Now, while it says that, when you've got your train, it creates your little train window here, and hopefully we'll be able to rename these later on as the game develops. Close it off for now. Right, so he's now sitting here in the depot. Right, he's sitting in here, train 1. Now, by default, if you've got a simple line effectively available, the train will sort of self-manage itself and go between 2 stations, as I understand it, and it'll be happy as Larry. Or it'll pick 2 stations that it can access, or 2 industries, or whatever else it needs to for the load it's got, as in the wagons, and it will automatically set up its own route. Obviously, you're not going to do that once you've got multiple trains, so you'll use the Orders tab, and you will set up a route. Now, we'll get to these buttons as we go on. They're more operational buttons. So we can add orders, we can skip the next command on the train's orders list. We can remove a command. We can unload, load, and stop and turn around. Okay. Now, I have not managed to get these working properly yet, the load and unload, as in forcing it to do a load and unload. It may just be me, but I've got to go through the Discord chat and see if there's anything I've missed. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to click on the plus, and then we click on the station. Similarly, it would be the same for an industry. If you want to go to an industry, you would just click on the industry. Okay, so now my first station for my route is station 2, and there's 113 passengers waiting there for me. Okay, so I'm then going to add station 1 to my route, and there's 84 passengers waiting there for me. Okay, all I need to do now is press start. So I press start, and away he goes. Whoops, let's bring that back. I had it on fast forward. Okay, well, while I quickly mention that, our timescale down the bottom here, hotkeys are 1 for pause, 2 for normal game speed, 3 for faster game speed, and 4 for maximum game speed. Alright, so what I want to get to though as well is, if we go back to the realistic view, so there we go, our train's off and running. Okay, looks pretty. Up here we also have some other controls. So, we have the ability, and I know that's got very loud. We have the ability to ride the train, as we said in the notes at the start. Okay, so that's basically what that does. So if you want to get that log back, the window back up, you just click on the train and it brings it back up. So we can sit in the train, and then we can change our views. Not that helps with the window in front. Okay. Oh. Oh, here we go. That's it. So while I'm riding in the train, so this one here is just to follow the train. So that will follow the train, okay, as he goes into reverse. Because I had the disable reversing set, didn't I? Sorry, I lost track of what I was doing. Yeah, so we can go in the train though, and we can cycle between the passenger views. Okay, so go through the passengers, and just the various cameras on the steam engine. We can also blow our whistle. Alright. So, not too bad. As I said before, looks nice, doesn't it? Close that off, we don't need that. Now you'll also notice that the signals work, as in effect that they will actually change as a train goes through the section, which is another nice added bit of detail. But these ones aren't going to change for now, are they? Because they will change actually when he gets in the station, I reckon. There you go. So now, because he's in the station, he's past his signal box, this block of track is now open and a train can quite happily come out from the depot. Okay. Now you'll notice that with these blocks, with the signal blocks, so if I was to put a signal here and here, and put one there. Okay, that now is one block. Okay, so what we'll do is very quickly, I'll get another train out from here, and we'll just add them, and what we'll do is just put him on auto. Alright, now he's coming out. You have to wait till this sort of all catches up. But at the moment, so now he's coming into this block. Those signals have been turned off to close access, so he can't come out into this block at all until this section of track is clear. Now this section of track goes from this signal, right? Obviously they're cutting it off, all the way up until these next signals. So at the moment you can see that if there's a train here on the platform, it can't come out, it won't allow traffic to go that way because there is a train on that block. Okay. Obviously the more blocks I put out through here, the more the trains can sort of travel to and fro, all that sort of stuff. Now, it's not ideal in this situation in the fact that you can't link signals together. So you can cause a bit of a stalemate at some more complex crossovers and stuff. But by and large, it does work. So I don't see too much of an issue. I mean, there are issues with it, obviously. Yeah. So we'll get the third train running. Oh, get the third train running. And then we'll start to see how the signals are actually affecting these trains. Right, so he's coming out. We're trying to come out. These signals have just gone red. So obviously the train is coming back down from the northern station. So he's going to head in here and wait. This train he's going to want to go out. He can go out because this is green. Okay, so he can now go in this block, but no one can now enter this block. So now there's going to be a bit of an impasse there. So what we'll do is we'll just add another section there like that. So he can't go past here because the other train is coming down this line through here and there's no other signal other than the station. So now he's going to wait until this section is clear, and he's got to wait till this section is clear as well, because this obviously is linked through here. So this train here should go through. No, he's not going to go through there. And this is where we get our jumbled up mess. All right. So what we'll do, this is where we use some of our operational controls. So we want him to reverse back in the station just to clear him out of the way. So even though he's not technically reversing, he's going forward. So we'll push him into the station. Once he's in there, this block will be released, which means train 1 should then continue back to reverse and come into this platform number 2. Okay, so therefore it was released quickly because he cleared. He's going to come off and come through. He's heading into the station. Train 3 is coming up to the signal. And again, he's going to get the green light, and this is going to cause more of a stuff up. See? So this is where we need to have slightly more advanced signaling. The blocks are okay. There's a lot more mucking about than needs to be with this. So effectively what the best way, well, there's no real best way here. Yeah, you've just got to sort of manage it. But anyway, so I'll push you back out again. What you can do though is if you were to make it one way, makes it a bit different. So if I'll bring him out and then I'll pause it. Right, so we'll pause it there. So what we can do, if I come back in here to my signals and say okay. So clicking on either side of the signal will determine your one-way traffic, your signaling. So if I come down that way and go up that way. So currently what we're going to do is have that set like that. Now we can, instead of actually having that signal there like that, we can have a signal there like that and do that. Okay, again, not so realistic probably, but it will work. We can then also so trains will only come this way down the line. They'll only go either that way in or that way in. Coming back out, the train won't be able to go down that line. So it's going to be forced that way. And similarly, this train coming from this platform will be forced that way as well. Okay. Now, we may have got the signals in prior to transition, which it looks like we have. So let's just see how we go. All right, so he's coming out. Now, he should be reversing up into here. And just to help us, I'll just put that there. So he's not going to go past this signal because we've got this train in this block and he didn't stop. Okay, so he's now going to be waiting there until this train is in that block, which is now in. So this is where what we can do is we can create spur lines. Just want to quickly get one in. There you go. Okay. Now what we can do here is we go signal there, up and down. So this line here, getting on this line, they can only go one or two ways. There you go. So now we start taking a bit of the strain off that one line that was going through there. So although this train here will come in through here, once he gets in this block, this train won't come out from the station. He will go in here because it's the only place he can go. This train here, when it comes out, will only take that route up through there. Off he goes. So what we'll do is we'll just do basically a bit of an introduction today into the basic gameplay and elements of the game. And when we come back with the next episode, we'll actually start a full-on Let's Play. And we'll start from scratch and see how we go. So you can see this one here now, he's taken his down line. And this one here is waiting for this signal to clear. So he can go into this block, enter the station. And he's going to enter to this station here because this one here is blocked. Okay. That's it. So that's basically how your pedestrians run, or your passengers running. Now, the industries aren't much different. So we have our coal industries. There's coal there. Now, the coal mines and all the other industries and also the stations have the possibility to put extensions in. So the extensions are basically add-ons that make it more productive. So I'm going to add a coal storage here, which adds an extra one, or increased production. Sorry. Extra space for storage of mined coal and production speed is increased by 50%. So put that down there, and now we're increasing to 2 coal output for the same period of time. So it's basically doubling our output. Now if we go to our forest, same thing. Extensions, I have the same sort of idea there. I can extend those. So you can build your productivity as you're going along. Now once you've created or started collecting your lumber or your logs and your coal, you can take your logs to, where is he? A sawmill. So there's a sawmill here, which will take your logs and produce lumber. Now, once you've got your lumber and your coal in this first era, you can bring them to a toolworks. Now, you bring your lumber and your coal, and that will produce your lumber token and your coal token. And that is part of your currency. So currently here we've got our cash currency, okay, for the want of a better term. It's our money, okay, but it's in tokens. All right, so where are we? As we, here we go. So we're in a bit of a jam here. So we'll just tell him, I'm probably going to crash, but anyway. Why is he stopped? Oh, yeah, now we're going to crash. This is what happens when they go in reverse. Okay. Anyway, we'll just ignore that. Pretend that that doesn't happen. Yeah, close it off. Don't want to see that crashed. Okay. That's why we're going to start the Let's Play after this. Alright, so when your passenger trains come into the station, you will start collecting your cash, your tokens. Gets in. Off those 3-4 passengers. And there we go. So we've made some cash, okay? So down here you have your information log as well. So it tells me 2 trains have crashed. Yeah, okay, they crashed. All right, we'll get rid of that. We don't want to know that. All right, they'll clear away. Now it also tells us down the bottom here we have 3 trains, 2 stations, Now we've got one train, so yes, when they crash, you lose them, they go. 2 stations, 1 depot, 25 industries, and I don't know what that one is. What's that one? Oh, towns. Okay, villages, towns, whatever. Alright. So what we'll do now is we'll just go in here and we'll just show the extensions for the station. So for the station, you want to do these extensions because it also increases the area from which you can draw passengers and all that sort of from. So a waiting room will add a loading speed of 100%, a capacity of 500, so it can hold a lot more, obviously, in weight. Plus it also increases our catchment area. So if I bring this down here, so you'll notice that the catchment area on the northern side of the station only goes up to that first set of houses, basically. If I brought it over to this side, it actually increases it by 2 this way. Okay, so this is how you can actually expand your station and your town in that regard. So if we were to put that there, not that's an ideal place to put it, it's now increased our catchment area, so we're actually increasing. So whereas before our catchment was stopping here, it's now stopping up here, so we've got these extra houses as part of it. I can put a platform in as well, which will also expand it. So currently, looking at it from the southern side, the northern boundary is at the crossroad. Okay, if I come up here, it goes one past the crossroad. So if I put a platform in there, and then put another platform in there, I'm increasing it. Not that I would necessarily do it this way in real life, but it's taking me now up to this point here. Okay, whereas before we were back down here, we're only taking these. So now we've got a lot more catchment area for this station. Okay. Rewards delivery. So now it's giving us another quest for delivery of logs. First line's finished, so we've got a reward there. So we've finished our first line. Okay. So I finished all that. So that was all the tutorial quests done, basically. Okay. And that's pretty much it for this first preview look. Probably a little bit disjointed. It's my my first attempt at looking at a game, but we'll certainly continue on the Let's Play, and it should be grand fun. But yeah, a lot of promise in this game. It does look very, very good. I love the look of it. The detail in it is superb. It really is. The Denver Western. So no, I'm really looking forward to the updates that come with this game, and I certainly hope you'll enjoy it as well. Admittedly, again, it is very early alpha, so there are some issues with it. Probably more so my gameplay and abilities is probably more the issue at the moment. But you know, I do hope you'll join us back here when we take a further in-depth look and a Let's Play with Mashinky. But for now, I'm Duckzorly at Duckzorly Gaming. I'd like to thank Jan for giving me permission to use his game for a Let's Play series, which I of course asked him to do. Not that I necessarily would have to, but I just think it's a polite thing to do. And we look forward to sharing our experiences with this wonderful looking game over the next few episodes. So thanks very much for joining me. If you liked the episode and you want to interact with me, please press the like button and the subscribe button if you're not already a subscriber, and leave a comment below. If you have any questions or you want to see something done, then yeah, certainly leave a comment, and feel free to come over and join me in Discord. Okay, thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you all again very soon. Catch you later. Bye.